everyone, this is Taslima from Taslima Maya Art. Thank you for being on my channel and watching this video tutorial on how to make a mermaid on a swipe pour with embellishments. So what I have here are some outlines that I printed out. So what you need to do initially to do the glue outline is you need to find an image that's a simple image that's royalty free preferably, on the internet, and print it out to the size of the canvas that you hope to embellish it onto. I've got two examples here, very simple images. There's lots of good websites like Getty Images, etc. where you can get good royalty-free images, and also tattoo images and other types of images you might find. And you can combine different aspects of images as well to make your own end outcome. So what I then do then is I find an image, say this one for example. I've got a tail here as well, which I might add to the end of her tail, and I get a piece of glass like so, and I place it on top of the image. I get my mini glue gun like this, and then I simply trace around the outline, so it's touching the glass, and I sort of drag it along over the top of the outline like so. Sometimes you can make mistakes, but you can use an X-Acto knife to correct the mistakes and cut off the pieces that didn't work out. But it does take a little bit of practice. As you can see, I'm keeping the glue gun off of the glass and just dragging it along. So I'm going to go up her body now, and I can do another part. Now if I want to stop, I simply just wipe it on the glass, and then use an X-Acto knife to wait till it's a little bit dry. We use an X-Acto knife then to cut off the part that's accidental. So this part, as you can see, is already dried almost, so I can just cut it off by here, there, and pull that bit off, so that's gone. And then I carry on doing the rest of the outline like this. I'm going to try and trace the body of the mermaid. Now if you go faster, the glue lines are usually much thinner, as you can see, and if you go slower, they're much thicker, so just be aware of that. When it's on the turntable like this, when it's on a Lazy Susan, it's just so much easier to control the glue. There we go. As you can see, I've done that part, and you will have stringy bits as well, but you just have to make sure that you can either burn them off with a torch afterwards, or you can just cut them off with an X-Acto knife or craft knife. So I've done this bit here, and I've just gone over the line, and I'll just cut it off by here because I don't need that excess line there. As you can see, voila, it just comes right off. Eventually I'll spray this entire outline and I'll put it off the glass, so you can see that that's how it looks like. Already I have part of the outline down, very thin lines with this one. So that's how I do it for this. Okay, and then I wait for that to dry. I spray it with some isopropyl alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and then it comes off the glass once it's dry and looks pretty much like this one. I've coloured in some of a glue outline with some acrylic pens or acrylic markers. You can use Posca pens as well. So that's pretty much how I do it. I did do it in two segments, so I did a tail, and then I did the body as well. And what I can do is I can place it on the canvas now, and I can decide where I'm going to glue this. Try and look at where it would look best really in terms of composition. Okay, so I still need to paint these, and I haven't done that yet, but that's pretty much what it looks like. Okay, and the back will be spray glued, which I'll show you later. Okay. The other thing I do try and make sure I do as well is make sure that my canvas is absolutely level, and I use one of these to do that. Okay, so I make sure that when I place my canvas in the right position, I can ensure that it's level on either side and across the bottom and top as well, and in the center, just so that when it's drying after I've done the pour, the paint doesn't start dripping off the edges and changing the look of the pour itself. Okay, so here goes nothing. I'm going to start with the lighter colours, the darker colours I think first. So I'm just going to give it a little stir, not too much because there's silicone in this colour, and I'm going to pour it across the bottom. So I'm going to be swiping from the top to the bottom, so the gradient will be lighter at the top and darker at the bottom. Okay, so let's do this. Whoops, let's hold on to that and see if we can get that across the bottom of the canvas a couple of times. So you can see it's quite runny, and I don't want to use all of it because I can use some of it at the top as well and mix in some colours so there's some layers or layering happening. The next one I'm going to use is probably this blue. Let's do that. No, we don't need too much on the canvas exactly, but we do need to cover the entire canvas if we can. Okay, so there shouldn't be any canvas showing through after I've done this bit. Oops, that's quite a lot. Right, there we go, put that one down, and then the next one. Some cross hatching is sometimes nice, or layering over the other colours so that there's some interest that happens afterwards. So I'm having some interesting bits. There's that one, and then we've got the lighter green. I love this this colour here. Let's do that one. And I want quite a lot of this colour, I think. Maybe run some of it through here as well. Okay, used quite a bit of that colour. And then we go on to the next one. Here we go. Let's hope this works out the way I'm intending it to. You never know with fluid art how it's going to go. Sometimes the consistency can be off, sometimes you've got the wrong ratios, floetrol to paint, so it is quite kind of uncertain art to perform. Okay, so where are we next then? We've got this beautiful green. This is the popping colour, so I've got some dark colours, some medium colours, a popping colour which is this beautiful green, greeny yellow colour. So I'm going to try and pop that across the top here, and I'm going to layer it with the colour beneath it a little bit. Maybe I'm going to pop a little bits of this popping colour elsewhere on the canvas. It doesn't have to be in a certain order, but it's nice just to mix up some colours sometimes. Alright, there we go. I think this was the rust colour except for the white, so we'll pop a lot more of it at the top. We don't want too much white on this canvas, obviously. Let's see. Just checking that this recording is imagine my phone actually stopped recording earlier, so I'm having to use my partner's phone now. Right, there we go. And then a little bit of white at the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little palette knife now, only a small one like this. I'm going to make sure that all the canvas, the bits of the canvas that are not quite covered up, are a little bit more even. Okay, so what I've done now is basically lay all the paints across the canvas so there's no part of the canvas that's exposed. So I've made sure that there's nothing that is going to let the canvas show through, hopefully. Okay, so if there's any white parts, you can just add the paint to those bits. Okay, I'm not too worried about the top of the canvas because I'll be putting my swipe colour over the top anyway, so it's just any other part of the canvas that you can see you can cover up with these colours. Okay, so we've done that, and I'm just going to quickly go over it with my torch to make sure there's no bubbles that I haven't popped on it. Okay, so there we go, just to make sure that there's nothing on there that could later expose the canvas or cause any issues. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, just to quickly show you, I'm going to use one of these plastic Polly Pockets, okay, and see if this works. I've never used one of these before, but hopefully it'll do the same thing as any other type of tool. And I'm going to place my white paint mixed with Floetrol in the same ratios as the other colours, but no silicone in this, remember. I'm going to put this across the top of the canvas. I'm going to let it trickle off the edge as well there. So let's do that now. Okay, so I'm just checking it's recording. Yes it is, thankfully. So I'm just going to pop that across the top. I might do that again so it's a bit thicker so we have enough. Now if you do miss spots, you can always later on when it's dry you can paint over it with white anyway, so it's not anything to worry about too much. So now I'm ready, so I've got two of these, so wish me luck. So I'm going to place this across the top now of the canvas on the white really. So I'm going to do that now, so it's touching the white, and I'm going to drag it really slowly and wiggle it a little bit over all my colours. Here we go. I'm going to, oops, trickling it everywhere. Just put that across the top side of the canvas as well so I'm not wasting any paint. There we go. So I probably need to move this off without wrecking the painting, which isn't as easy as it sounds. Put that down there and leave that there for a little bit. I'm going to have to do exactly the same quickly with the other section. And I can wash these off afterwards anyway, so I can reuse them if I need to. So it's not too much of a wastage of anything in terms of tools. So let's just do this side and hope it has the same effect as all those cells popping up. I had to redo some section of it because obviously, there we go, I missed a bit here. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. There's a little bit missing there and I might need to pop some more paints on there just to make sure that if I stripe over it again it's not gonna just have a bare canvas. So the reason that happened is because I had to sway into the middle there because I'd missed a section on the previous swipe, so pretty much had to redo that. Let's just pop some on there now and hopefully we can correct this part of it. Maybe a little bit of this colour. I don't want to leave it too late, because as you can see I'm able to pop it, and also I'm able to use a torch on it again now to help encourage more cells to come up. There's not much of this green left here, which is annoying. I think I mixed this one the least in terms of how much I mixed up. Right, let's try and swipe this a little bit. Now, you can use anything, any type of tool that you have. Oops, I do need a little bit of the white here, so I might have to pop that just here. Right, and then see if that works. It can be nerve-wracking sometimes, especially like me if you're a beginner and you've not done this very often and you don't know what's really going to happen. Okay, that wasn't a good idea. I should have wiped that off first of all. Let's try and do it again. There we go. I think that's the best I can do with that bit. And we'll see what happens now. Right, so as you can see, all of the cells are popping up. I don't know how well you can see that. I can try and zoom in for you with my gloved hand. There you go. So you can see lots of cells. Now I can, if I wanted to torch the top part of it, or try and tilt it now to try and tilt off some of that. So this is what it's beginning to look like. You can see all the cells are popping up. It's looking really quite beautiful. Lots and lots of cells. I could just tilt it a little bit like this if I wanted less white, but I actually like the shape of the cells, so I don't really want to change too much of it, you know. I did dab some of the excess drips that fell off and use the plastic sheet that I used, the Polly Pocket. Some of the excess paint that was on there from the swipe, I have put it across the side now, so it's covering all the edges of the canvas. So hopefully the edges won't need to be touched up or anything once this dries. So fingers crossed this dries the way that it looks presently. I don't think there's too much paint on the top of it, and I have checked with one of these in terms of dabbing it in and seeing how much paint is on there. It's only a tiny, maybe a mil, possibly just over a mil of paint in terms of the layer, so hopefully the colours won't change too much as it dries. Okay, so the next part will be trying to get the Mermaid glue outline attached to this paw. And I will have to wait a while for this paint to A, dry, and B, cure a little bit before I can even consider putting this on top and painting it or using embellishments for it. Okay, so I hope that's clear in terms of how I did the swipe. And as I said, I put all the details into the video on the screen, and in the description as well for you to follow if you want to do something very similar. Thank you. Okay, so what I have here now is the same white acrylic paint that I used to swipe on this canvas earlier on. And obviously the canvas is fully dry now. Okay, so it's dried to the touch. It's not fully cured, obviously. That will take a while before that happens, maybe a couple of weeks even. But what I'm going to be doing today is using a brush or sponges to dab on some of this white paint and cover up some of the discrepancies up here where the white didn't fully cover the other swipe colours. Okay, so as this is going to be an ocean paw, this is the full size of it. My stand isn't quite tall enough to get the full canvas in. As it's going to be an ocean paw with a mermaid embellishment, which is my plan for this one, I'm going to have the white at the top as if it's the light hitting the ocean and filtering in downwards. So I'll be putting on some extra paints then to try and make it seem that way. So we're just going to cover up some of the patches here. If you can see the blues and greens up here, I've just cut up a little bit of sponge really to begin with. I'm going to dab that on. This paint has thickened up a little bit since a few days ago when I did the swipe. So I'm just going to get some of that on the paint, not too much. Some paint on the sponge, I mean, and I'm just going to dab that on at the top there really to make sure there's good coverage. Okay, and as I do that, then touching up the edges across the top as well. I'm going to make sure that it is all white at the top. There we go. Okay, so you can see that it's dried and the cells are really quite visible. Okay, so you can really see all the cells on this canvas now. Some of the colours have dulled a tiny bit, but mainly because I used quite a lot of Floetrol, more than I usually use. And the alternative to using Floetrol is of course PVA watered down, so that's what we could do next time as well to see how that looks in comparison. But you can see the cells there, very pretty cells, blues and greens. Some of them down this end are quite big, as you can see. And then on this side they're much smaller, so it gives a lot of interest really to the ocean pool. Okay, so I'm going to carry on doing this, dabbing the top. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so I have the canvas here now, and we've finished the top half of it in terms of touching it up with some white paint where I did the swipe, and I've got this green paint, which is the paint that I've used for the swipe itself, you know, the colours within the swipe. And I've got these tools which are usually used for nail art. Okay, so you can see they've got different round nibs on them, and I'm using this paint simply to try and touch up bits of the painting that are not that interesting, like so. So some of them are a bit thicker than others, so I'll use this one, which is a slightly thicker one, to add some more dots here. So, like so. Okay, I think you were able to see that, right? Let me push it down in case you can't. So yeah, like so. And I've done quite a few of those right at the top because there seemed to be a fair bit of white space there, which wasn't that interesting. Okay. There we go. I think that's enough. We don't need too many, just to add some interest to the painting. So the bottom half is the ocean. I'm going to put my mermaid into the ocean, where she is actually diving down to collect large pearls or bubbles, or whatever you want to call it. So this is her. Okay, you can see she's hot glue and she's quite bendy, and I can decide where on this canvas I want to place her. So most of this is dry, it's dry to the touch anyway, but it's still curing. Top half is slightly wet, and particularly where I added the dots across the top there, that's still wet. So I'm then going to try and decide what the composition of this painting is going to look like. Okay, so am I going to put her in the middle, low down, high up, on the side here, and what angle on the side there? But I also have to consider the fact that I've got another piece which is her tail here, and it has to swish out almost. Okay, so we'll have to go on the end of her tail there. Okay, end of her body there. So that is the plan, and I'm going to probably put it right smack bang in the middle, and put the tail part up to the corner of the canvas there, as if she's splashing into the ocean to collect something. Okay, so that will go right up in the corner. I think that's the best composition for now, and then I'm going to embellish her and fill her in a bit with paints and possibly some crushed glass or pixie beads, also known as caviar beads, which are glass beads. I can show you what they look like. They are, so this is, for example, what crushed glass looks like. Okay, just open her up. So I will decide what kind of colours I'm going to put on her body, possibly in the tail there. And if I don't use that, I have got something else that I'm really interested in using. And there are these which I've not used before, which are tiny little granules, multicoloured granules. Can you see that? Here we go. So I would use PVA glue within each of these sections and place those in there possibly. That's one option. Another option is, of course, these which I've ordered off Amazon, and they are these beautiful caviar beads, or pixie beads as they're known. and there's lots of different colours, so I'll have to decide on the colour scheme so that the mermaid pops out from the background. The background is quite busy on this canvas, so we do want her to stand out as much as possible. Okay, so we've got a few different options there. They're beautiful because the light shines off them as well. So that's another option. Other things that we could include maybe for her tail would be this. This is also something that can be used, and these are mica flakes, and you can get lots of different colours of mica flakes, and they could quite easily go in the tail section here, and I would glue these in. Okay, so that's what they look like. And the third option, which I don't know if I can find her right now, oh actually here they are, is this, to really make her pop and stand out from the background there, from the poor background. Could use this as glitter, it's chunky glitter. I love the look of this blue one. There's also a pink one, so she could be pink, I suppose, but I quite like the blue one. I think what I'll do is I'll probably use this one this time because I really like the look of that. Okay, I'm just trying to think. And also Tanya, Mundt, my friend from Chicago, an artist in Chicago, she sent me these beautiful pieces of glass, so I could crush some of them up to add to the canvas and add some interest, and also some shells. I did order quite a lot of shells off Amazon as well, so these could easily go on the canvas as well if I wanted to add some interest, or even these beautiful ones, and I love these. She sent me these, aren't they gorgeous? So they're very smooth and shiny. Obviously used for different crafts because there's holes in them, but that can be filled in. So these are beautiful as well. Okay, I have done another piece, and I'm not sure if you've seen them. I've got all these pieces of glue that I've made for bubbles, which I'll add around the edges, possibly around the edge of the canvas or somewhere. Decide where to put those. Show you this. I just want to quickly show you another one I did, which I don't know if you can see, but I added, this is all crushed glass, and this is a glue outline that's been coloured in with acrylic pens, paint pens, and I've got tiny little beautiful shells which I've put some gold paint over to make them more shinier. Painted this shell as well, and added some glass, crushed glass in that glue outline that I made. And there is a starfish right here, which is a real starfish, and I've dusted it over with a bit of gold there as well. Okay, so that's what that looks like. Some more shells on this side. That's what this piece looked like, and I'm really proud of that one because it's the first time really doing this kind of art. There is some drawing embellishment around here with paint markers as well, which shines in the light. You can't quite see, but it is beautiful. I haven't yet varnished this piece, but I will do as soon as it's fully cured. Now I think I'll take a break now, and I will continue with trying to do this as soon as this paint across the top has dried and these dots have dried up, and we'll see what we can do with it in the next stage. There's a few other things I forgot to mention, and they are this option. I'll just find it for you. So this is what I ordered off Amazon a few weeks ago, because I was thinking that I'm more than likely to do a lot more ocean or sea type of themed paintings, and I've ordered a fair few shells, and it's a really nice package of shells, lots of diverse shells here. Okay, so you could possibly add these. I mean, I could cut these up as well, and chip them off and make them smaller so they don't look so bulky on the canvas. But there's lots of flat ones as well. For example, that might look really pretty in this painting, possibly. So I mean, that could go anywhere. It's pretty flat anyway. So these are other options really of what could be done. What could be done with creating embellishments on paintings. There's a lot more under there, quite a lot of them. I really like the flat ones. They're beautiful. Okay, and we did pick some up from the beach as well when we were last at the beach here. My friend also sent some in the post, so I've got absolutely loads of shells, and I'll have to find a reason to do more ocean paws to use these up as embellishments. So there's that. Okay. Yep, so I'm going to get a piece of glass like this, okay, and I'm going to put this, the reverse of it, onto the glass, and I'm going to use this spray, which is adhesive spray. You can get lots of different brands. I've bought 2 of these for the price of 1 online on Amazon, and I'm going to spray the back of this glue outline, and then what I'll do is I'll lift that off and carefully place it on the canvas so it's stuck on. Okay, so that's the plan next. Of course, the other way, and the way I've been doing it up till now, I've only done a few paintings, but the way I've been doing it up to now is quite simply getting a sponge or a very stiff bristle brush and using some PVA or Elmer's glue like this. Pop that down and then use the sponge or the brush to dab it over the entire glue outline. Okay, and then normally then what happens is I'll wait till it's a little bit more tacky, and then I'll use this type of sponge. I'll wait till it's a bit tackier, almost dryish, and then I'll turn it around and place it on the canvas, and it should adhere really, really well. Okay, it normally does. So here I am, I'm about to spray it. Okay, so I put it on paper instead of on the glass, because I can just throw the paper away afterwards. And I've given this a good shake, this adhesive. I'm just going to pop it all over it. Okay, so here we go. I have the spray glued glue outline, and I'm just going to try and decide how this is going to sit on the canvas. Okay, let's try that again. So we'll get the tail aligned to begin with. Get it off my fingers. It's gluing itself to my fingers at the moment, so I might just move these out the way a little bit and try and let it fall naturally. Off we go. Right. Well, I'm going to press down and hope for the best in terms of adhesion. That was probably not the best spray glue. It was quite thick and I needed a much more thinner one, and it was the first time I've used it. So if you can get a thinner one that sprays more lightly, that would probably be a better bet than these heavy duty ones that you can get that are more for things like carpets and other things. So yep, I'm sticking that down now, as you can see, and I might put something over it and press it down from underneath as well, just to make sure that it's all stuck together. These extra ones I'm going to have to, I think, dab glue on and stick them at the top. I'm going to make sure this is done properly now, so see you in a minute. Okay, so the other way of doing this in terms of gluing the hot glue outline onto the canvas is using some school glue or any type of normal glue, PVA glue, popping some on to there like so. Okay, and getting a simple sponge like this, which I've cut up. I'm just dabbing it on pretty much, so just getting a little bit of it, taking off the excess, and dabbing that onto the back of this tail here. So I've got the tail. I'm gonna stick the glue on there. So just remembering where I've gone and following that really. So get it all over it. And dabbing it is a good idea because you don't end up getting it on the sides as much and on the front, which you want to try and avoid. The spray glue I used was a little bit too heavy, I think, so this is much easier, even though it's a little bit more time consuming way of doing it. Oops, I'm on you right now. So there we go, just making sure that the glue is all over this, and I'm doing this on a plastic poly pocket, so it's not touching the canvas, in case you can't see on the camera there. So there we go, push that away, is it all on? I think it's all on. Just want to make sure it's fully covered. Right, okay. So I usually take a bit more time and care, but because I'm doing a video here, I'm trying to rush it a little bit, so I'm not keeping you watching for too long. And then I simply will place this where I want it to go without getting too much of it on the canvas, and the angle I want that tail to go, and press it down. Okay, so that is how I do that. I'm going to do exactly the same now with these little bubbles that I've got. So I'll pop them on around here possibly, or maybe behind here. Okay, so that's that. Now what I will do next is probably simply put some books under this canvas, and then put some books on top of it, just to kind of compress that glue on and make sure there's good adhesion whilst it dries. So here goes nothing. I'm gonna put my glue in here, put 3 stripes in, a bit of blob there to make sure I have enough, and I will spread it out. Okay, so I don't want too much glue, but I also don't want too little in case they fall off at a later date. So I'll then get maybe a palette knife or something, try and spread that about. Okay, I normally just use a cocktail stick or a wooden stick or something like this, quite simple, and just sort of mix it around to get it into all the edges, to make sure there's good coverage, and there's no sections that I've missed in terms of making sure there's adhesion and glue everywhere for that glitter to stick to. There we go. Just want to make sure it's right into the edges. Might need a little bit more because it's quite a big section here. I'm sorry if you can't hear me very well. I don't have an actual microphone yet. I might get hold of one at some point, maybe a second-hand one or something I can get hold of on the marketplace, but I'll be able to speak my usual volume without having to project my voice, I think, then. And I know when I look away, look in the drawers, you can't probably hear me much, but I'll try and sort that at some point. Or might do a voiceover for this video. Let's see how it goes. So there's a number of ways I can do this. I can pop it into there to begin with. There we go. And then lift them up and put them in there one by one, or a couple of them at the same time. Like this, like so. Okay, so I can use a tiny little spoon if I can find one to do this, like this. Lift them up and sort of like sprinkle them on. You see, and tap it on really to make sure they're all in within the boundaries of the glue gun glue. Maybe push them in. Try not to get glue on the top ones. So yes, that's pretty much how I do it, and that should set very soon as well. So I'll carry on doing this, and I'll save the battery and save the hard disk space on my phone, which is very limited, to show you the next part once this is done. So you can see what's happening there, okay, I hope. Can you zoom in a little bit? There. So yeah, so I'm pretty much just simply sticking this on. Much easier than glass, crushed glass, and much easier than the pixie beads for sure, because they take absolutely forever and they usually have to be placed one by one, which is really annoying. But yeah, this is so much easier. So I hope I'll have enough of this to go all the way up her tail, and cover everything fully. Right, okay, I'll see you in a minute. So I've decided what I'm going to do for the upper part of her body. I'm just going to use 2 colours, a deep navy colour for these this crushed glass, and this colour here, the turquoise colour as well, which goes with her tail a little bit. So that is the plan, and we'll see how that goes. So I'm just going to tip this in here and see how that looks. And do that slowly, and then flatten it out a little bit like this. I'll brush the excess off then. Any excess that's left over afterwards I'll brush off. And use the back of the spoon sometimes to really sort of tap it in. Okay, like so. And I'll put the turquoise colour there and try and mix them up a little bit so it looks like a bit of a gradient. So if you look carefully here, I've just poured a whole load of paint that I custom made in terms of trying to get the skin colour for the mermaid, and I poured that into each of those segments for her arms and her face. So I've just poured in my acrylic paint that I've mixed up with a bit of water, and it's this Deco Art Extreme Sheen pearl colour, and I poured it into these little bubbles I have here, and I'm just making sure that they're evenly spread out. I've left it quite thin and I watered it down a fair bit so you can actually see the canvas through them when they dry, hopefully. So you'll be able to see the swipe pattern underneath. Trying to decide whether I should pour in this big one. I probably will, but so far so good. It's looking really good. It's almost finished. Okay, so I've done the swipe pour for the background, let it dry, done the glue gun outline and painted it and stuck it on. I've done all the little bits on the actual mermaid itself. So as you can see, for her body part I put crushed glass into that, 2 different colours, the navy blue and a turquoise, and I poured paint into her hair, and I also poured some paint and rubbed on some paint as well, the Extreme Sheen from Deco Art into the bubbles, and I painted some of those outlines, the glue outlines on the bubbles as well with the paint pen, which is in silver. And also I filled in the tail here with these glitter shards that I had, that I already showed you, and the end part of the tail there I filled with crushed glass again. Then I attached these extra glue lines, which I then painted using PVA on top of the crushed glass to give it those swirls. Okay, so the next bit that I want to do is using some of these products. I haven't fully decided which ones I'm going to use. So initially then what I have is Shards of Shell here, which just arrived from Amazon, and there's lots of beautiful colours, and I want to do something with the seabed on here to give it a little bit more interest in the picture. Okay, so I'm thinking about maybe possibly putting some of these colours alongside the bottom of the canvas here, and also possibly some shells. Now these shells I have, some of them were ordered on Amazon and others were actually picked, or hand-picked I should say, from a beach by my dear friend Ken Rat, who's on the group Acrylic Pouring for Beginners, and we met on there actually, and he's become a really good friend, and he's sent all these different types of shells for me. The starfish, obviously, he didn't send those. I got those off Amazon. I popped one on her hair just for effect, a larger one. And I have also received, as of today, these beautiful cross sections of shells, which I will possibly put on as well along the bottom there. I haven't yet decided how I'm going to do it. It usually just comes to me as I'm sort of popping things on there and having a look what would go well. These are cross sections of I think they're plastic, actually. They're not glass, they're plastic cross sections. They look like pearls. They're really pretty, so I might decide on a colour scheme for the bottom of the seabed and pop some of those on with glue as well. Okay, so you can see what colours they are, and then possibly there's also a kind of a blue colour that might tie in with her tail as well. So I'm not entirely sure what I will do, but I will take a picture when I'm doing it, or a video. The other thing as well I have is these beautiful tiny little shells, which I really like. So I don't want it protruding too much from the canvas. I can actually chip these down, I'm told, so I could chip them down and make them a bit more flatter and pop them onto the canvas as well, just to kind of finish this off. Okay, so that's it from me for now, and I will get on with trying to get stuff onto the canvas then to finish off the painting. See you in a bit. Okay, so this is the actual finished piece now. So this is how it looks. We've got the mermaid in the middle. Oh, that's very clear to you on the camera. And there's the tail with the crushed glass and the glitter in the lower half of the body, and the starfish. And then across the bottom we have the seabed with all the shells, the shell halves, and the shell shards as well as some of the pearls and starfish. And you can see the background pour as well, so hopefully that's really clear and you like it. Well, I hope you like it, if you made it to the end of this video, that is. So I have been Taslima from Taslima Maya Art, and I put the full credits of everyone who's been a help in my journey with doing fluid art and embellishments at the end of the video. Thank you so much. Please do subscribe and like the video if you liked it, for more to come in the future. Thanks very much, and bye.